Sales Support Sunday. Maybe we'll call it Sales Success Sunday. Doesn't matter. Got a couple of sales questions. I'm going to answer those, and I'm going to go watch cartoons because that's what Sundays are for. So if you're new here, we operate on a very simple principle that one new skill will change your life. And what I've discovered recently, I think there's about 33 small businesses, 33 million in the US. And that small business is less than 400 employees, 400 or 500, depending on the industry. And then I want to say less than 5 million in revenue. But half of those, about the median, makes less than 50 grand a year. And so I've found that a lot of folks are stuck in a cycle. They have a great idea, they want to scale it, but they don't always have the resources to invest and get to the next level. I believe being able to sell it is the best way to do that. Because if you can create that revenue through sales, through new customers, you're not going to have to jump through hoops applying for grants. You're not going to have to fill out paperwork and get rejected for loans and then have to pay those loans back. If you're a customer, right, you add value, you just get to keep it. So the goal for each Sunday is to answer your questions, make sure you have sales success in your business so you can grow. That's simple. So question number one, she asked me, how do I use my podcast? Now, I'm not a podcaster. Shout out to Brendan Boyd. He's the one that's really helped. And Gilbert Abraham, he's been really instrumental in like leveraging long form video. So I'm going to give you advice from a sales perspective. If you have a platform, whether it's yours or you're visiting, or you're offering long-term video. Oh, what's up, man? Your question is up next. There's three things I want you to do. So the first one is increase this font, I think. 18 is a good number. The first thing is talk about the problems you solve. One of the biggest mistakes many people make, too many, when they start selling, is they talk about how effective they are. They brag about their awards and their certificates and their experience. They talk about how great their solution is and better than everyone else. But they miss the whole reason people buy. Like, problems are the reason people buy. The next thing, so if you talk about the problems, you're going to turn those problems into paychecks. Ooh, I got a training for that. I'll shoot you a DM. I'll put it in the notes. So if you can focus on the problem, the pain, the frustration, the headaches, the obstacles, not only will you have hours and hours of content, it's going to be content people want to watch. It's going to be content people are going to relate to. They're going to say, hey, I have that problem. And they're going to lean on you to fix it. So if you have a podcast, any long form video, that's the first thing we're arguing. Think about how I started, right? Say, hey, there's 33 million businesses, less than half of them are making 50 grand a year. That's the problem. Can't grow, don't have any money to invest, struggling, you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're like, man, I should just go back to work. So we got to make some money. I have a clear call to action. What I love about what I do is I help enough people and charge them so I can do things like this because I care about the people I serve. So for me, the call to action is visit ineedsalessupport.com, www.ineedsalessupport.com. So you can get alerts, you can get emails, texts whenever we have a pop-up training. For your podcast, the call to action should be very simple. It should be clear, concise, and compelling. That's the delivery: clear, concise, and compelling. I recommend either a freebie or a low ticket item, less than $20. Okay. All right. And last but not least, I would use the same episode over and over and over again. I think one bit of arrogance is you post it on YouTube, you don't tell anyone, and you're wondering why you don't have any new views, you don't have any new subscribers, you don't have any comments. No one knows it's there. And so making it easy to find with long and descriptive caption is important. But more important is sharing everywhere. What's up in sensitivities? Oh, Black business clicking the building. I love it. So that's how I use a podcast. And a podcast doesn't have to be in a studio. I have 4K cameras and $1,000 mics. It just needs to be you sharing with your ideal audience the problem you solve and how you can help them. So I love that question. We got that yesterday. at an event, and I'm sharing it with you all. Now, Maya asked a great question. How do you get past the gatekeeper to talk to the decision maker? So first things first, I'm gonna head over here. If you follow New Skills Media on LinkedIn, you can come back in. You can look at the screen grab of what I did. I use LinkedIn. I just talk to the decision maker directly. Why are you talking to the assistant or the manager? If you want to talk to the owner, reach out to the owner. So I use LinkedIn to do just that. Now, if you're like, okay, can't find them on LinkedIn, there's tools like salesintel.io, not affiliate. And this is for folks that are searching B2B mostly. But it's a great way to get numbers, sometimes the cell phone, or their direct email, and some instances their social media. So the biggest thing I say about getting over a decision maker, past the gatekeeper, is just don't talk to the gatekeeper. I don't have any fancy techniques or some magic words. Just skip it. It's 2023. There's plenty of technology where you don't need to talk to them. Now, if for some reason you just have to talk to the system, I would do two things. So let's do a new page here. Gatekeeper. Step one is skip them altogether. But if you absolutely can't, you don't have the email, or if they've got their phone and they're answering for their boss, I would ask a compelling question. And it would sound something like, so for me, I say, hey, are your salespeople talking to 10 people and less than 2 of them are turning into clients? And they'll say, no, it's more than 2, it's 3. I'll say, great. How would you like that to get that to 5? Who do I need to talk to? Most of the time, they're not going to be able to answer that question. They're going to refer you to their boss. Or what's happened to me a couple times is they can answer that question. And they're going to say, hey, how do you do that? Great, we got a conversation going. So when you ask the question, the open-ended question that speaks to the problem, if they have a solution, they're not your client. Keep moving on. But if they don't have a solution, that's your opportunity to add some value. But the problem comes first, because the solution is useless without a problem. Now, the second thing I can do is say, hey, can I talk to Bruce? No, Bruce isn't here. This is assistant. How can I help you? Okay, great. Hey, I have some resources from Bruce to help him for more of his conversations as a client, and I don't know where to send it. Is he expecting that? Well, right now, I understand that you're converting less than 20% of your sales calls. Is that correct? I'm not sure. Okay, pretty sure that's where he's at. But this is going to help him get closer to 40. Can you tell me where to send that? All right, I'll pass it on for you. Great. What's your email? And then I'll say, how do I know he's received it? I don't expect, you can't guarantee he's going to reach back. That's not your responsibility. But how do I know that he's got it? Oh, I'll get it to him. I promise. Great. I'm going to reach out again in 24, 48 hours to see what questions he has. And in that email and in that resource, that value added resource, your contact information should be there. Talk about the problem. Well, I just did this yesterday. What I created a rubric, right, for how to create sales content. I'll throw that in. Let's see, where can I put that? If you don't already have my book, salessuccessbook.com, I'm going to throw that in there as a template. If you already have it, go check Gumroad for an update for your sales resources. It'll be in there. So salessuccessbook.com, I'm going to throw those in, how to create sales content. And that's the type of content that the decision maker is going to look at and be like, man, I need this. I need to talk to them. So even if a gatekeeper, as long as they do their job and pass on that value-added content, you can create the conversation with the right person. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? You got a podcast. What's up, Vernon? I'll call you after this. Questions, comments, concerns? Is that clear? Is that simple? Is that execution? Is that executable? Or is it actionable? I don't know. Let's see, what other questions do we have? What other questions do we have? Okay, great. Let me know, Maya. Listen, there's money to be made on the phones. Oh, one more question before we go. I don't like social media. What do I do? So I love this question because I personally don't like social media. I don't mind going live. I'm not nervous. I'm not scared. I just think there's a better way. I'd rather talk to people face to face. However, I got my buddy Vernon hopped on here. He's in New York. Mine's over there in Bama. Our friends at Insensitivities are in California. How can I talk to all of them? And then who even knows who pops up on YouTube? I've been getting more and more views on that every month, and I don't have to go anywhere. So it'd be foolish not to use social media. So here's 3 tips for people that don't like social media. Grab one piece of content, 30 minutes, an hour would be perfect. Talk to yourself if you have to. Tell a story, get in front of the camera, tell a story. Don't need fancy lights. Use your phone and make sure it's charged. Grab an hour piece of content and then chop it up. Shout out to Michelle Welch, the Oprah of productivity. Video.ai is a great tool, vidyo.ai, and it chops it up for you. So you take all those, 30-minute piece can be 10, 15 clips, and just post one a week. Consistency is better than intensity. Just post once a week. And you can post, and then the second thing I would do is have a very detailed, descriptive, caption. And the caption makes it easy to find if someone does a search, especially if you place it on YouTube or on TikTok. Those are really search platforms. When you talk about the problem, you talk about the solution, you have a clear call to action. Someone can type it in. How do I use social media even if I don't like it? The video pops up. And the consistency can really help you build traction and awareness for your business. Even if you're like, man, I don't like social media. You're like, oh, Bruce, I don't like the camera. Well, do you want your business to be a secret? You'll have to find some other methods. There are other ways to do it. I like conferences. I use LinkedIn a lot, referrals. I have a strong referral network. But if we're talking about social media, there really isn't a better way to talk to more people in less time. And last but not least, reuse the same content. So if you post once a week on Instagram, let's say Sunday, Monday you can post on TikTok. On Tuesday you can post on LinkedIn. On Wednesday you can post on Twitter. Because I don't want you spending hours and hours doing something you don't do. But here's what I find that works for Bruce. I'll send out a proposal. I'll talk to someone at a conference, and they'll say, "Oh, what's your social?" And they'll go check it out. And I've had people tell me, "Oh, we decided to work with you because we've seen your success. You know what you're talking about. Where do we send the payment?" And it's great. So it ends up being like a visual resume. So I don't want you to just skip over it, but I also don't want you to think you got to spend 20, 30 hours a week doing dances to grow your business. Last but not least, ask yourself the question, where is your audience? A lot of the people I work with create more content than they consume. It's really tough to reach them indirectly or passively. You've got to send them a DM, you got to get their email, got to talk to them at a conference. And so I'll send them a clip from a podcast. I'll say, hey, here's what I'm talking about the podcast. Is this something you want to talk about? But if you are looking for folks that are 30 plus, you really probably shouldn't look on TikTok. If you're looking for, maybe I have a friend, she helps high schoolers get into STEM. She probably doesn't need to be on LinkedIn. Maybe to talk to their principal, maybe to talk to their teachers. And so before you say, hey, I don't like social media, how do I get over that? Ask yourself if you even need to. Ask yourself if you even need to. So, quick recap. How do you use your podcast? Talk about problems. How do I get past the gatekeeper? Right? How do I get past the assistant, the entry level, and talk to the boss, the decision maker, the owner? And if you don't like social media, what do you do? So if you missed the front half, I will repost this here. You follow us on YouTube at New Skills New You. It's New Skills New You everywhere because one new skill will change your life. And remember, we make sales simple, helping you hear yes more often without sounding salesy. Thanks for tuning in to Sales Support Sunday. Here's to your success this week.